A mechanical engineer by profession, he worked with Columbia Gas Transmission for 40 years as a gas compression expert. A notoriously humorous person, he was serious about his work. When one's job is to ensure the movement of a highly volatile material through pipes that run through cities and towns and homes, then one had better know what they're doing. He did. Pipelines aside, he was my mentor, and one of the most brilliant sources of life advice I've ever had. Early on, I knew I'd never be a professional mathematician. Though I never truly struggled in elementary school, some topics still frustrated me since I couldn't quite get my head wrapped around them. That's when my grandfather would step in and explain whatever it was over and over again until it made sense. Sometimes it was simply a different way of solving a problem, other times it was visual, my favorite example being a large styrofoam ball that he had meticulously marked with lines of latitude and longitude. But one lesson of his has stuck with me over the years, and, quite possibly, benefited me even more than the Great Ball o' Meridians. My grandpa taught me how to find x. It starts off simple. X plus 2 equals 4. Now, as a senior in high school, it hardly takes a second to determine that x equals 2. But back in the early days of middle school, it was almost impossible to believe that variables could exist. We had learned our 10 digits, 0 through 9, and could therefore make any number imaginable. That universe was turned on its head with the invasion of the alphabet into math, and the concept of the unknown became the greatest numerical mystery since negative numbers. I, for one, could never see how x had gotten lost in the first place. I figured that as a letter, x belonged in the alphabet between W and Y and had no business keeping me from the answer to a math problem. It was an unending frustration, especially once x edged its way far enough into the curriculum to bring Y along with it. Eventually, my grandpa intervened, as he usually did, and explained that x wasn't invading mathematics or stealing the rightful place of a number. X was standing in, so to speak, while we figured out what it was supposed to be. Nothing was wrong with variables, and I suddenly realized that x is just a letter who dreams of growing up to be a number and one day solving a big problem. I am x. I've been plugged into equations since the day I was born, as is every other person on Earth, past, present, or future. In life's great equation, we are no more than variables trying to fit in, letters among numbers. From day one, we live up to our name. We vary. As children, it's typically a more whimsical variation, as they'll be pirates, princesses, and back again. Realistic or not, they're trying out different lives. They're changing numbers to see what fits the equation of the world around them. Eventually, something will click, and they realize that because Fairy Queen isn't really an option, they'll have to settle with human being. Like magic, they've solved a little piece of the equation. Children coming to terms with reality are one step closer to finding X. The next step? Elementary school. It's the first time most kids are exposed to a large peer group and social interaction. Their variable keeps changing, eliminating numbers where they don't fit. Children begin developing their personalities and continue substituting impossible numbers, getting ever closer to the elusive X. Middle school continues the ambitious search for the unknown, and a massive portion of the equation is whittled down by things such as cliques and extracurricular activities. Students have begun honing into a range of numbers that may fit their life's equation. The possibilities of what the solution for X could be are still immense, but no longer infinite. Most know by the first or second year of middle school what they are naturally drawn towards. There will be kids who gravitate towards math, others to language arts, some to music, and others to a mix of several areas, or seemingly none at all. The latter, unfortunately, are often frowned upon since they don't fit into any one mold and instead float between subjects looking for their interests. They're not lazy. They're not failures. They're variables. Yes. They're searching for their solution like everyone else, but perhaps their pool of numbers hasn't been narrowed down as much as those of their peers. Perhaps for these little letters, the equation is condensed or factored down to a simplified form. They shine through once the equation is expanded, revealing the wide range of choices and possibilities that life presents. Entering 9th grade, I was fairly certain of a couple things. I was never going to be a ballerina. I was never going to be a singer or a soccer player. The chances of my becoming a theoretical astrophysicist were slim to none, and clearly, I was not going to be one of the popular girls. It didn't bother me a bit. I enjoyed history and the quirky company of my fellow band members. I could quote Robert Frost, Richard Bach, and at the time my favorite word was anti-disestablishmentarianism. I was still X, but my equation was shorter and my pool of possible solutions were more shallow as I focused in on my interests and looked towards the future. I kept substituting numbers. While my past dreams of genetics and engineering didn't fit, I discovered a new passion for psychology and physiology. I'd been unknowingly attempting to solve a large part of a larger equation for nearly 4 years. At long last, some of the numbers I've been relentlessly cramming into my equation over the years have started to fit. I've found my niche, and now my solutions are leading me towards college, the next part of life's spectacular math problem. Soon, I will have eliminated high school from the equation, as it's no more than a series of steps on the road to an answer. When my grandfather first taught me to solve for variables, it was to complete a worksheet. He never knew how much it truly meant, or how much his lessons would help me understand my life and the world around me. It ends. X plus 2 equals 4. We all live this simple little problem each and every day in infinite forms. Say, for example, that a copying machine gets jammed. X minus 7 equals 2. Remove the troublesome sheet of paper, add 7 to 2, copying machine functions, X equals 9. 2 problems, 2 solutions. Some parts of the future's equation will change based on past answers, but that's okay. It's how life works. Big or small, everything is part of the equation. Only when we have reached a point in life in which we are truly content, having found peace and happiness in and with ourselves and those around us, can we say we've solved the equation. Only then, as my grandpa would have said, would that little letter have finally grown into its number. Only then will we have finally found X. Thank you.